Welcome back to Podcast Picture Stories. Today's episode will be a little bit longer and a little less detailed, but we got a lot to go over. I'm just going to go through the collage that's posted once again. I always mention that we're speaking on pictures that are anywhere from 20 to 30 years old. So I do my best to try to remember where the location was and who the players were in the picture. Today's episode starts off with the reminder of this. I was on GT bicycles, and obviously Terry Tennant ranking number 2 in the nation for the American Bicycle Association, which is now called USA BMX. So that's where we're starting today. So we're going to move up slow, and we'll go from there. So this is kind of like our little desk that we're working from. And yes, that's my first BMX trophy that is now broken 40 something years later, but I think a little Elmer's glue will fix that. And then we'll move into the details of what we're coming into. So we'll start off at the bottom. As many know, most of us BMXers switched over to mountain biking. This was a first place finish at a famous place in Northern California called North Star. North Star hosted a lot of the big World Cup races back in the early 2000s. They had a pro series that they ran. Brian Lopes won it, I believe, one year. And anyway, so that's the significance of this photo here. North Star downhill. I won the Vet Pro class 4 years in a row. So that's kind of finishes out the details. And this was the Vet Pro class at the time. It was 41 and over. Now it's 51 and over, I believe. So anyway, I wish BMX would do something like that. A 51 and over Vet Pro would be pretty awesome. Moving up, National number 2 MBL, 2006. Vet Pro, well, this was Hall of Fame induction manual. 2016. This number plate goes all the way back to probably 1982, 83. Moby Dick's Bike Shop. A little sticker of myself. MR.T. Tennant. Anyway, that's just how we ran it back in the day. As we move up, MBL number 1 plate, crit plate, used at Frogtown. We move down. My buddy who owns this, his dad died and gave him a creamery. So they serve ice cream and dairy products, which is really popular here in Silicon Valley, California, Palo Alto. Here's our skate park, Palo Alto Skate Park, which was built way back in like 89. That's me on a Haro bike. I know you can't tell in the photo, but it's a Haro bike, OP ski jacket, so it tells me that it was wintertime. As you see, everyone looks pretty cozy, somewhat. And yeah, so skate park picture. This place was down the street from my parents' house. This is 1979, I believe. 11 Expert, winning at Fred Watson Park, San Jose, California. We head down here. This national is coming up actually in a couple weeks, being May 2025. Dixieland National, they call it. We called it the Murray World Cup. This race used to represent $30,000, so the winner on Sunday would go home with $30,000. Pretty cool. We go down here. This is 15 Expert. Me jumping at the local riding spot, trails they call them now. We just call them riding spots. Now they're referred to as trails. Credentials into the Hall of Fame. The date that it happened. Chula Vista, California, San Diego. Hall of Fame, June 11th. So I guess my Hall of Fame anniversary is coming up. And then I was doing advertisements for a team called Extreme. They were motorcycle gear, and they got into BMX for about 3 years, and luckily I jumped on the bandwagon, and I believe they were paying me $600 a month to wear their gear. As you see here, pretty cool. Kind of looked like the Fox gear or 09. Just a copy, a little bit of everything. Team Extreme. We're going to head up Pro Cruiser. Looks like I'm winning Pro Cruiser. Not sure where. Here we go. Oh, Dallas. Okay, there we go. So there we go. I won both days in Dallas, Pro Cruiser. Be nice if they brought Pro Cruiser back. This was a Pro Purse. listed. Just a basic parting shot, they used to call it back in the day. Here's a MR.T. inductee Hall of Fame poster that was presented to me at the Hall of Fame dinner. We dropped down to Columbus, Ohio, hotel. It looks like I made $2,500 that weekend, not bad. I'm running aluminum bonsai forks, aluminum bonsai frame, S&M slam bars, profile cranks, Peregrine, hear that? Peregrine pedals, JT uniform, Vans, Tioga sponsorship. I had parted ways with MCS for about 1.5 years or 2 years to work with bonsai out of Brazil. And they ended up not doing much in the sport like most companies. Here's me racing velodrome. It looks like I can't really zoom in on what it says. But anyway, it's a World Cup qualifier for velodrome racing in 2004. Columbus, Ohio, once again, indoor. National number 5. What that tells me, national number 5, is this was the year I didn't win MBL number 1. And I was number 5 the following season. And also we were combining BMX and mountain biking. So 6 months out of the year I was racing mountain bikes. And then the last part of the year going into the ABA Grands, which would be November, would be BMX. So 6 and 6. South Park, Pennsylvania. MR.T. leading Gary Ellis over probably the third jump into the corner. Charles Townsend on Robinson. And it looks like Mike King number 7 red line. So there we go there. So yeah, and then we got a little action on what it says. All right, MR.T. the big winner. You know, I can't fake this shit. The magazine's telling you what happened. So as much as people think like, oh yeah, man, he's always like doing this and that, it's like, hey, like my dad always said, don't wait for anyone else to celebrate your greatness. Do it yourself. So that's what I've been doing for years. I celebrate myself. I don't care what people think. No one else is going to do it. So here we go again. Winning, winning, winning. So JT uniform bonsai bike out of Brazil. Here's snapping Gary Ellis. Pistol Pete with a ponytail on the inside. MR.T. front wheel up. Once again, aluminum frame, aluminum forks. Everyone else is running chromoly. Steve Veltman next to Ellis. Then there's Brian Lopes. So there's your photo right there. And then we go into the article. And there we go again. So that's how the cookies fall, man. So those are some dominant years for me. We're going to open it up to the big poster. So now we're representing the big poster that was given to me at the Hall of Fame. And we'll go up a little bit higher. And it brings us to the Pro Cruiser plaque. And once again, Pro Cruiser doesn't exist. And I got rid of the trophy because who has room for trophies? And I just keep the plaques. So, or the whatever, the platelet, whatever you want to call it. And then this was presented to me last year at the Northern California Frogtown, Northern California Hall of Fame. So first time anyone's gotten one of these, so I got in the first round. So respectfully, so I was the winner of the two-time winner of the Classic Series race called Frogtown. For those that don't know and are just chiming in, here's the number 1 pro poster, Pro Cruiser article, whole deal. The year I won it. So, and we pan back down and out. Here's the trophy. And then we open it back up to what the article was and stuff. It's been laminated, so I kind of knew way back in the day to laminate stuff because obviously, you know, 20 years later, that article would have been in a dumpster. Significance, this was like 2009. Once again, wearing some Fox gear. This is one of the first chase bikes. People don't realize that I was riding one of the first generation chase bikes before anyone even knew what the company was. And never got credit for it, no big deal. And I'm running clip shoes. So those are road bike shoes and road bike pedals. Okay, so for all the people that go, oh, Terry's never run clips and, you know, T's never done this. Here it is right here, man. Okay, so 2014, from what the article says as I glance down. I'm running road bike pedals, road bike shoes, and I'm running one of the first generation Chase frames. So we bring it back out. Bam. There it is. Can't fake the poster. Here's NBL 1996 leading Dale Holmes over a pro jump. Riding for Jeep Ross. Once again, riding a MCS frame and fork bars. All my MCS frame fork bars. Terry Tonette, MR.T frame and fork. And I put Ross bicycle stickers on it because they don't make a BMX bike. And there's Dale Holmes GT 1996. We're going to move down to CW Racing, Ascot Raceway, Los Angeles. And I forget the rider's name in second. See what I mean? And I bet you like 5 years ago I would have still remembered. I think his name was Tosh Moravia. And I'm about 99% sure that's his name, Tosh. He rode for Powerlight. And he was replaced by Danny Milwee. And then here I am again on CW Racing. The guy next to me, his name is Lee Garland. He got out of the sport early, but he was a fast 15 expert. Once again, this is Bakersfield. Back when they had doubles into the first turn. Kids today, I'm not sure if they would know what to do if there was big doubles into the first turn. Now everything's a roller step or roller something, you know. It's just, everything's watered down. But since everything's watered down, it allows people, you know, our age, in terms of the audience that I attract, to still be out there doing it at a competitive level. If the tracks were like they were back in the 80s and early 90s, we'd all be in the bleachers. So anyway, this is just kind of the CW portion of my picture board. Those that didn't know, I rode for CW, and yeah, I broke my wrist at one point. And, you know, shit happens. I got into freestyle for a little bit. This was a freestyle show inside a Schwinn dealer. We were riding wheelies, doing one-handers and stuff. 1983, Palo Alto. My training partner, Dave Maddox, riding a GJS. Getting rad at the local trails. And then another NorCal picture of me. Power wheelie. And that's on a Pro Cruiser. And then we finish out with the #1 hat. So that's how it works, man. It's about all we got. So we have another wall to go through, and that's good for today. So once again, this is May 2025, and we're just going through the picture stories here that I have on the wall of what happened years ago. This is one of my old mountain bike downhill plates. And this is a picture one of my buddies drew for me in 1987. Bow Buster, we called it. And there it is. Bam. All right, thanks for chiming in. And we'll be back to you. And stay tuned for the next episode of NorCal Picture Stories.